Marty.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is to the Minister for Human Services regarding the South Australian bushfire appeal. Can the Minister please update the Council about how the Marshall Liberal government has continued to support the bushfire-affected communities of the Adelaide Hills and Kangaroo Island through the distribution of the South Australian Bushfire Appeals Fund?
Call the Minister for Human Services.
Thank you, Mr President. I thank the honourable member for her question. Yes, in light of the tragic fires that we experienced in South Australia, particularly at Cuddly Creek and Kangaroo Island, which is where the funding for the bushfire appeal has been distributed, we're really pleased that the funding has all now been completely finalised as of, I understand, last Wednesday. Every last dollar of the $9 million has been distributed to families, businesses and communities who've been impacted by the fires. There's a total of 1,062 families, individuals and businesses. There was a range of categories early on. The funding was provided to families of people who had died as a result of the fire. We also had a category for people who were seriously injured, people who'd had their principal place of residence destroyed, and we had the largest category in terms of the number of grantees was for infrastructure damage, which might have included sheds, machinery, cars and the like. Small business and primary producers also had a round. Registered apiarists, we discovered that there were quite a number of people who have been keeping bees who were impacted. They had a round, and then there was a series of top-ups to those, particularly whose the principal place of residence and infrastructure damage had suffered from those. It was a great experience on the weekend to catch up with the Webb family of Kenton Valley, who had received, I think it's $23,000 through this program. What they reported was that because the grants had been provided in a range of rounds, as they were able to assess their particular situation, they were able to use those funds to in ways that they might not have anticipated at the start of the process, and as they'd processed grief and were into that planning phase for their family. So that's obviously been quite a good process for everyone. There's also been a range of community organisations who've shared in the Community Strength and Resilience initiatives. We had 2 rounds of those, and those organisations include sporting organisations, some support for mental health projects, arts, gardening and a range of things which I think really do boost the well-being of those communities to know that they haven't been forgotten and that the other people have been assisting them through that financial support. So we're grateful for every individual who's donated, businesses, sporting clubs, even Elton John was a donor through one of his concerts. And a range of other celebrities have donated, so we're very, very grateful. Also thank the committee for their hard work. I know that they've been challenged at times to work out what was the most appropriate and equitable way to get the funding out on the ground. I think they've done a fantastic job, and also to all the staff in the recovery centres who've been working with people to assist them with their applications. Yes, I think we can all stand proudly as a state for the support that's been provided to these communities.